you let me love you forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
It's a Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day.
Hey, you guys, welcome to TMW Online. I am Linda. That is Abby over there. We are covering all things 90 Day Fiance The Other Way. We are on season 7, episode 4. What were your overall thoughts, Abby?
Okay, so I excused last week when we dragged on a little bit, but this week we're I need them to give us some more movement next episode. So let's propel forward in the stories lines, okay?
100% agree. Hey, Michelle, I feel like this was another filler episode. Like, I could have gone ahead and done without some of the stuff that we already know the issues are. We already know what each couple is dealing with. Let's just go ahead and let's fast forward this a little bit. Let's get into the nitty gritty. So we're going to start off with Madeline and Luke. And, oh gosh, Luke, I'm just looped out already. He is getting there one day early. They haven't spoken because, she's blocked him, which if you're engaged and you're about to get married in a couple of weeks, I just feel like that's not a good look, but here we are. So they're a few weeks out from the wedding, and we know that they have that Maid Beauty salon, right? And she's been working there, Madeline, for a year and a half and making money. She told us last episode that she's been making money, but here she is still fighting with Luke over finances. Now, my question to you, Abby, is do you think she's banking her money and spending his money?
I think so. And I don't have any problem with that because Luke led this relationship with money. And Luke has decided to be dishonest about his financial situation. So I don't have any problem with her operating under the false pretenses that he has set up for this relationship.
Agreed. You came in as a sugar daddy, you better have the sugar. And she is being wise in her ways because she's going ahead, and she even said in this episode that she's making good money monthly and she's banking her money. She's buying a condo. She's doing all the things. If Luke, if you're coming in saying you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this, then you better follow up on what you said you're going to do because that's the specific type of woman that you went for. So here we are. Her mom shows up. Now, I want them to dig into this a lot because her mom comes to get her nails done. We already know that they didn't have a great relationship as she grew up. Madeline says the relationship is good now, but it's still weird for her because her mom didn't want her around when she was growing up, didn't want the kids around. But then she said Luke taught her to leave the past in the past. And so now her and her mom, quote unquote, hang out. I think that is trouble brewing. Trouble brewing. If you don't address the trauma and you don't address the issues and you just say, oh, you know what? It's cool. Let's hang out and kick it like we're friends. Something is going to go awry. What are your thoughts?
I have a lot of smoke for Madeline's mom because I don't think that there's a couple of things that I don't like about this whole situation. One, I don't think that there's any excuse for you to come back into your adult child's life that you haven't cared for without considerable apologies and empathy for what that child went through and the danger that they are in from having couch surfed through their teenage years. I don't think you get to come in then and say, oh, this is, I'm so proud of you. You're right. Who cares about you being proud? Who cares about you being proud? Right? The other thing that I didn't like about mom is she's congratulating her on getting married to someone like Luke. Mom has no concern over this enormous age difference. Mom has no concern over, I don't care for, she's allowed to have a relationship with her because that's her mom, so she could do whatever she wants to. I don't care for it.
Great. Michelle says it's her mom after her money. I had that thought briefly as well, because mom's coming around all of a sudden when her daughter is successful. Her daughter is marrying, quote, what she thinks, quote unquote, a rich guy from America. So all of a sudden you pop up and you say, oh, you trust Luke because you had one conversation with him and you think he's a good guy and you're so proud of your daughter and all that she's accomplished. But meanwhile, you're coming in to get your nails done for free, whatever. I don't know if you're in it for the right reasons. So Michelle, yeah, is the mom thinking that she's going to get residuals of whatever money is coming across, considering that you did nothing for your daughter? Your daughter was homeless growing up. Like, what's that issue? So that being said, Madeline's super stressed out about the extra cost for the wedding, and she's blocked her fiance Luke because they're fighting over the money situation. So Luke decides that he's going to show up, a couple of days early and surprise her at the salon. And he's scared, right? He's scared about the money. He's scared about the investments, and he's scared about his relationship. Well, it's because you haven't been truthful in any of those things. That's why you're scared.
Exactly. It's all he's walking around with all these self-inflicted wounds.
100%. So he shows up with flowers and she acts like she's not happy to see him there. The mom's still there and she's like giving him side eye, but really she's just joking. She jumps on him. She's happy to see him and she can't wait for their wedding. Meanwhile, mom is like, kissy kissy to Luke and going to camera saying how she's so excited for her daughter being 20 years old and getting married already. You sound crazy. Like, you sound crazy.
Yeah, this is such a disappointment. But I mean, what can we predict from what she told us previously? But what a disappointment to have to raise yourself. I feel Madeline is doing the best that she can in the situation that she was given, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I do feel really bad for people who've had no one to protect them in their entire life.
Agreed. So what we learned about Madeline is that she doesn't like surprises. I actually don't like surprises either. I like to know what's going on.
Me three. Don't surprise me. Hate it.
Yeah. Because also I can't fix my face sometimes. Like, it's just going to tell you exactly how I'm feeling. So just don't do it.
Right. I have a schedule for everything and it totally throws off my schedule if you try and surprise me. And that just causes me so much anxiety. And it makes me do things that don't make any sense. My parents surprised me with a car. They switched the car I was driving with the new car they gave me at the restaurant. I was so discombobulated. I left my keys to my house in the old car that they took back down the highway. Didn't realize it until I got all the way home. Now we're 2 hours away from each other and it made me so angry.
Totally get it. Although that's a first world problem, but I love it.
I know that. I don't really tell people about me being mad about it because it sounds like, okay, but you got a car. But it threw, I was trying to switch my stuff from my trunk and trying to figure out, okay, what do I have going on tomorrow? What I need to make sure I get out of this car? What can I get late? I didn't like it. I didn't like having to think about that at the restaurant.
Yeah, agree. I totally get what you're saying. Yeah. Don't throw me off. I already got things going on. Let me keep this show on the road. Madeline is feeling a little bit of pressure because, she's been planning this wedding on her own. And Luke hasn't been giving her the money that he said that he's going to give her. Because remember, he promised her the wedding of her dreams. That is what we are going with. And so Luke, on the other hand, is saying, oh, we agreed to be on budget. Now we're way over budget. I didn't agree to be over budget. And he feels like there's a lot of financial discrepancies. And he's wondering who to blame. He's like, I'm not to blame. I'm not going to blame Madeline maybe or the wedding planner, but I'm not to blame.
So there's a mythical fourth person that's to blame, Luke?
Also, Luke, you're the one that said, listen, Luke, listen, you said the wedding of her dreams. That's what you said. And now you're saying you put this caveat on it where all of a sudden there's this strict budget and you need to see the receipts. I don't think those were the words you were saying when you were wooing her and telling her this and telling her that. That's not what you were saying. So yeah, who is to blame? Live chat, let us know who's to blame that Madeline and Luke's wedding is over budget. If you're watching the replay, definitely let us know in the comments. And so they're all there, they're set up, they get to the apartment, and they're going to be meeting with the wedding planner that evening. And Luke is not really looking forward to it because he's going to be confronted, right? You said you sent all this money. Where's the money? And then meanwhile, the wedding's not ready because nothing has been paid for. And we're finding out, oh, guess what? They have 2 days to pay everything or the wedding's going to be canceled. So he says he's been sending payments, and he said that the wedding was supposed to be in budget, supposed to be $12,000 US dollars, which if you think about is a lot for Colombia. It's a lot.
That is a lot.
So he's saying, where's the money he sent over? They get there, Lizana sits down, and Lizana, if you guys remember, she is also Madeline's pageant coach, so she's doubling as the wedding planner as well. So she's like, there's $4,000 outstanding. Like, she crunched the numbers in front of them and said, there's $4,000. That's how much we're over, and it needs to be paid, and it needs to be paid in the next couple of days. And then Luke's like, oh, well, I sent over $1,000 in December, and Lizana's like, I didn't receive $1,000. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, Vanessa. Hey, girls. Hey. Meanwhile, we find out from Madeline that $1,000 was for the rent as well as for her dress. So what are we supposed to do here? Now, one of the things, Abby, that made me super mad is that he's like, well, I only have $3,000. You talking about the $3,000 that your dad gave you at the airport? What have you been doing for the last year?
Yeah. So that part made you irritated with him. I was irritated with him when he said, I gave up my job in order to come to Colombia. Okay. I don't think that he gets to complain about anything that he's giving up to come to Colombia. I understand, like, for example, Greta, yes, you're giving up some things to move and be with Matthew in the United Kingdom. He pursued this relationship in Colombia. It wasn't by chance. He pursued this relationship. And so for me, he does not get to complain about what he's giving up. He could have stayed, dated someone his age right here in the US, and kept his lucrative job. But he decided to play finance bro and wanted to pretend that he's wealthier than he really is by seeking someone out who is in a country that has a beneficial exchange rate, and now the situation that you find yourself in. You did this all to yourself. You do not get to make any complaints.
And yes, what Abby said, all of that, yes. And again, what have you been doing for the last year? Have you not been banking your money? And like, where did you live? Didn't you sell your stuff? Weren't there proceeds from that? Didn't you sell your car? Wasn't there proceeds from that? I'm trying to understand why you only have $3,000 in your pocket, and you only have that $3,000 because your dad gave it to you last minute.
Right. So what we know is what his dad said, that he is in an enormous amount of debt. I wouldn't be surprised if he had multiple mortgages taken out on one home, if he wasn't actually paying, if he was just using credit cards to pay his bills and he wasn't living in cash. I would not be surprised if that's the case.
And to piggyback off what you're saying, okay, so then did he pay down his debt?
Probably not.
That doesn't sound like it's anything. Like, where's your money, Luke? Where is your money, and why you only got the $3,000 from your dad? Makes no sense to me. Manon and Anthony and Benjamin. So they've arrived at her parents' house, and it's surreal to her, right? Being back, she's still trying to process the whole thing. The house is smaller because the parents have downsized, and what she's finding on day one is there's no privacy and there's no space, and they're going to have to adjust because they're a party of three. And what I do like about Manon and Anthony so far is their ability to communicate. I think
Hmm.
communication is key in any relationship. And so they're circling back on talking about the solo parenting. And, Anthony's like, yes, I shouldn't have said that. And Manning is weighing the provider versus caregiver in that conversation, right, you guys? Because if you decide that you are going to be in this traditional type of role in a relationship where someone stays home full time, someone goes to work full time, then you're going to have to be okay in those roles, right? You can't have resentment building up because one person is working too much or one person is the primary caregiver. You guys have decided that this is the roles that you're going to take. And so, unless something has changed and you've communicated that they've changed, what are we fighting about? So they both
Hmm.
feel hurt. Um, they feel hurt by how they talk to each other in that moment. And Abby, I was thinking, well, it was stressful, right? Because they sold their house, they sold their car, they have a baby, they're traveling halfway across the world. Yeah, it's a little tense now. Is that okay to talk crazy to your partner? Probably not, but I understand that there were some other factors going on. What were your thoughts?
I am still not really understanding what is making Manon upset. I said that before, like when we talked about this. I feel like they're saying the exact same thing. She complains that she's not spending enough time with Ben, that she's not bonded with Ben, the baby. And he says, I feel like I'm solo parenting. They're saying the exact same thing. But for some reason, she's upset when Anthony says it. And so I hope that when she watches this back, she's like, oh, I was getting upset about nothing because you were just agreeing with what I was saying. But I did get irritated with them this episode for an entirely different reason. She said that the parents downsize because, they're getting older. They don't have as much family living in the house. She never said that I remember, maybe I'm wrong, that she's grateful or showed some appreciation for her parents giving up their personal space. Because she's like, oh, we're sharing a wall. We have no privacy. No, they are sharing a wall with you. They no longer have the privacy that they had in their home that they downsized to.
Mm.
So I was just thinking, like, I love my kid so much. And I will always let you come and stay with me. But if you came back to this house with a spouse and a child, and now I have less room in the home, there's noises, there's smell, there's stuff in the refrigerator that's not mine, you're eating stuff that is mine, that's all an inconvenience to me.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you, but I do think she said that she felt grateful towards the end because I do have that note there. She was complaining about all the things, um, but like, and again, doubling down that the place was too small. But she did say she feels good to be with family, though. She loved how her mom was so happy to see and spend time with Benjamin, so she's feeling a lot more reassured and grateful. And so I don't know. I think she bounces off of gratitude and complaining, but we're seeing that that's kind of her personality, Abby, even with
Hmm.
the relationship with Anthony. So they both think that their marriage needs saving, and she wants to spend more time with her son, and she wants Anthony to be a better husband, like he is a dad. And here's the thing that's crazy to me. She keeps saying that she feels like she's failing like a mom, and she knows she has a lot to work on. So she apologized to Anthony for her attitude, and but she also then said, "But Anthony needs to do more to be more affectionate and be a better husband." I'm like, okay, you guys are complaining about the same thing. You address it, and then you complain about it again.
Right.
Have we not moved on? So yes, you guys both said this is the thing. Doubling down on what you're saying, Abby, you said, okay, you want to spend more time with your kid. So you guys moved so that you can spend more time with your kid. Now, Anthony is not giving you enough affection. He says, okay, yes, I need to give more affection and be a better husband. You say, You want to be with Benjamin more. What steps are you taking to be with Benjamin more? Because what I'm not about to do is listen to you complain about the same two topics over and over and over again, and then
Right.
throw in that the place you're staying is too small. Like, you
Right.
still have what, 60,000? Go get a
Right.
place then. If this is not working out for you, go get a place then, and you all better get jobs real quick. How about
Right.
that?
Right. And as far as affection goes, we haven't seen him deny her affection, so I'm not 100% sure what she's talking about. But I will say we see this pretty common when the roles are the other way. We see men complain that women, in the course of their duties as mom and home caretaker, will not be as affectionate and as intimate, right?
Yeah.
And the response that we typically give men is, what are you doing to take the load off of her so that she can find time to be that affectionate and intimate person? So I would say the same thing to Manon. What are you doing for Anthony to not have all of the duties of the home and child raising where you can find time and space to be intimate and affectionate with you?
That part. Hey, Silver Lining. I don't know if I said hi. And Dester43, what up? Yes, yes. I will say this. Michelle says, and I've been saying this since the first episode, what do they think moving will fix? Because everywhere you go, there your problems are. So
Right. I just think they needed to move somewhere that was less expensive in the US. And I'm really hoping that at some point in the show, they're going to explain why that wasn't an option that they considered.
yes.
Not because I think like the US is the best place to live. It's just like I just think they could have lived somewhere that's less expensive than LA.
Yes. You could have moved to Texas, cheaper. You could have moved to Arizona, cheaper. You could have moved to Timbuktu, cheaper. Everywhere's cheaper than Los Angeles, California. Okay. Do I have anything else that I want to say about them? I got nothing. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No. We're good on them. I want to see some progression with them. I want to see him start learning French. I want to see him start looking for a job. I want to see her start taking care of the baby more and not being upset when he doesn't automatically want to come to her, and figure out how to work through that.
Yes. All of those things. Johnny and Chloe, listen, they were the comic relief for me in this episode because it was so outrageous to me.
Listen, I understood Chloe about the gas stove. I spent time being scared of using gas stoves too, so I will not make fun of her about that.
I will.
The first gas stove I was ever introduced to was the one that you have to light yourself, and that was really scary to me.
Yeah, I got nothing for you, Abby. I got nothing for you.
You
I got
never
nothing
were
for
scared
you.
of that?
Listen, you guys, what is happening right now? What is happening? I am mind boggled. Let's go to the beginning of time where man was actually making fire by like wood and little. So let's fast forward to 2025 when we're all grown adults, maybe cooks, maybe not cooks, maybe home chefs, maybe not home chefs. Maybe all you know how to do is make ramen noodle, but to just switch a little button on a gas stove and everyone's freaking out and scared and can't do it and all the things is mind-boggling to me. I'm trying to figure it out.
No, because I was afraid that I was accidentally going to blow something up. I was also afraid, like, what if I don't turn it off all the way, and the gas is like seeping? I was scared of like disaster.
But
I did get used to it eventually, and then I had a regular one that clicked. But the first one, you had to light yourself, and that did scare me, Chloe. I understand, Chloe.
I don't. Nope. You can get those long little candle burner things. Paching, it goes in. They have covers. They have the burners on top of them. So like, nah. So anyway, let's get into this. Johnny and Chloe. She's happy to be back in Aruba. It's her first night was great. Obviously, they had some adult time, and so everyone's happy. Woke up all glowing. Johnny has taken a few days off to connect with Chloe, which I think is really good. Shows, hey, I'm going to spend time, get her situated, because once we get back into the routine of things, like I'm going to have a job and I'm going to have to go to the job, and I want to make sure that she's set up for success. At least that's how I took it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So, we find out, which I'm not surprised about, that Chloe doesn't know how to cook or use the stove. And it's, gas stove, which is Abby talking about gas stove versus an electric flat stove. And she's freaking out because it's a flame she can't control. And she's scared and she can't do it. And she's scared. She doesn't like the noise. She's scared of the stove itself. I sat there and I was just smiling and laughing because, wow, that is outrageous. You're 23 years old. So what have you been doing? Oh, I know. Your mom's been doing everything for you, clearly, because this right here is I'm mind boggled. So Johnny's like, hey, listen, Chloe's naive. I get that she's afraid. And I'm gonna have to teach her how to use the oven. Fine. But she can't be in vacay mode every single day because she lives here now. So she's going to need to learn how to not only use the stove, but to cook dinner, because we can't go out to eat every day. When she's on vacation, she comes down here, we go out every night, but that's not sustainable. That's short term. And so we have to look at focusing, he says, Abby, on family and stability for long term. I was like, who is this guy?
I know, right? It's like, it's so weird against his pirate persona and the way that she initially described him. But he does have a quite serious side that we're seeing.
I may have misjudged him, you guys. Because, yeah, I thought he was just Mr. Partier, worked on a boat, entertainer, but he's taking the time to think about the future and what that looks like, and stability and family and saving money and being economical and being frugal, because this is all new. And she's there. She's not going to be working. He's going to be like a sole provider until they figure out what that plan is going to look like. And what is that plan going to look like? Have they decided that she's going to be a stay-at-home and she's going to do like the cooking and cleaning while he goes out and forages as a what does that look like? Hey, Mrs. Casey, it's so cool to see some of our like long-term viewers pop in.
Absolutely.
Welcome back. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. Chloe, I think, is gonna have a hard time because I think that she's gonna have a lot of life lessons, but it's gonna help her grow up, and she's gonna have a lot of core memories for sure.
I think so too. I think so too. I think this is a good thing for both of them. He's working on, getting, over his grief. I won't say over it. He's working on moving on in life with his grief. She's working on growing up. So they have a chance here. I hope they don't hurt each other, and that this is just a chance for growth for both of them, whether they stay together or whether they don't.
Yeah. But I think there's going to be hurt and a train wreck coming down here somewhere. Because
I hope not, though. I really hope not. He doesn't need more hurt, and I want her to just, get out of this without a baby. I keep saying that.
And I don't want them to be hurt either, but I guess my concern is the same concern that he had. He's raised. Is she ready to settle down and actually do this? Or is she still in party mode and wants to explore? And for what I'm seeing so far, she's still young. She still has her wheats to sow her soil, to sow the wheats and the soil into the ground and grow.
I'm not even gonna tell you what that's supposed to be. I'm not gonna fix that. I'm gonna. What do you say? Sow her wheat? Oh, she's got to sow her wheat. That's what it is. Not fixing it.
Help me out, y'all. Help me out.
Nobody tell Linda. Nobody tell Linda. Exactly. Just making out without a baby and just take this as little tiny little rant. Every relationship doesn't have to be for the rest of your life, but it also doesn't have to be painful. We can have good relationships that we walk away from, that we grow out of. Just everybody be honest with each other, and when it's time to part ways, just part ways. Like, this is not working for us anymore. So sorry, it's not working out, and now we're parting ways. Don't get to the point where you're hurting each other. Just have your growth, walk away into your new life.
Agreed. Thanks, girl. Sow your wild oats. Sow your wheat. Oh, same family. Y'all knew what I was talking about. Sow the wheat. Sow the
barley. Sow her barley.
Sow the barley.
Sow her sorghum.
All of it. Just all the grains. So all the grains. Oh, Linda. What you talking about? So the grains.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I too feel an affinity for Johnny now that we've met him, a couple of times, as opposed to the way that Chloe initially described him. And not even the way Chloe described him, but it was really the friend that was painting him in a negative light in the very first episode. And I don't think that really stands up to what we've met about him so far.
Yeah, Mrs. Casey, I have to look into that because I think the commercials should be on the replays. I don't like them in the lives because then everyone is behind and can't be in the moment. So I'll look into that because it's irritating for sure. For sure. Last and certainly not least, and I'm going to be on my best behavior for this one, or at least I'm going to try to, because I understand that Hazel is a therapy animal. And those are important for people. I do understand that. So Greta is saying goodbye to Hazel. And it's very upsetting and traumatizing for Greta. And, we talked about it on the show before, and I get it, you guys. She's had a very hard upbringing, and she was a little bit isolated, right, with her family. And so she really connected with animals, and animals didn't judge her. Animals gave her unconditional love, all of those things. That being said, she loves Hazel so much. She's connected to Hazel, and then goes on to say that Hazel is extremely sensitive, and that Hazel has gone through a lot. She used to live outside. She was a single cat mom. She had some babies in the streets. And I am trying to take that 100% seriously. But I also think that perhaps there's some transference in that. And maybe it does mean that Greta is extremely sensitive, and that Greta has gone through a lot, and change is going to be very hard for her. And so, I mean, all you cat people out there, because I know are going to say something, but could I possibly be right? And it's not about the sensitive cat, and maybe it's about the sensitive person.
Oh, absolutely. When she said that, I was like, sounds like Hazel was living a normal outdoor cat life to me. What's the trauma? Maybe there's things I don't know, but as far as I know, that's what happens to every cat who's outside. But anyway, I do think that maybe she was really talking about herself. She is really sensitive. She's the one who's been through a lot. She's the one who has difficulty adjusting to new people and places. And for some reason, she was just talking about the cat instead of talking about herself.
See, so I'm not wrong. Because that's the vibe I was getting. I was like, first of all, when you said your cat was an Aries or whatever, and and this sensitive and needs a lot of hugs and needs a lot of cuddles and all the things. I was like, this sounds like the trauma that you are trying to get past as a child. That's what it sounds like to me. And if you're able to channel it through your cat and heal, then that's, I get that, you guys. But like the part that I have a hard time with, with the fact that I just don't like cats, period, full stop, is that now we're assigning things to cats. Cats now are sensitive, and they have, horoscopes and what?
You guys, everybody give Linda a round of applause because she is showing incredible restraint in describing the Hazel Greta situation right now. Just really fan. You're being so kind. You're being so nice.
Thank you for noticing, because
You are.
y'all know that there was a TED Talk in there, and I'm having empathy. I'm having empathy.
Yeah, you are. Because she's going a little bit overboard at this point. However, even though she's going a little bit overboard, I still, think that it's a lot to ask of her to leave her cat behind. And I want to know what the conversation was behind him not finding a place first before she moved.
Right. Michelle said I can never give up my cats. And you know what? I think too, perhaps her being able to take the cat might have made that transition easier, right? Because she's in a whole new country. She's going to have to reestablish, and that is something that is been a stabler in her life, a stabling force. And so,
Exactly. So everybody said that, by the way. I made a short video on Instagram asking boyfriend or cat, and nobody said boyfriend. Everybody chose cat, including men.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, like nobody really was in favor of her leaving her cat behind, even people who didn't know her whole background. So I think, I'd like to know more about the decision-making process on the timing of her moving, why it wasn't more of a priority for him to find a place for them to live before, even if not completely moved into the place, but just to have located the place before she arrived and to know that's where they were moving. Why wasn't that more of a priority? You silver linings, you've gone too far.
Yeah, you know what? I don't even need to say anything. Maybe you're doing something else, but your mind is not clear, because there is when I say 0.0 ways, there are 0.0 ways that I literally, because you guys know, I told you that I opened myself up to actually try to start dating, like properly, seriously, giving it some actual attention. And I literally swiped against this person that had cats in every single photo. I did. Sorry, not sorry. Because, I mean, I don't want to put myself in that situation where what if, we connect and then we like each other, and then it's the cat versus me. And just like Abby said, he's obviously going to choose the cat. So let's totally not do it, because I'm going to be like, hey, can you put your cat in the closet?
In the closet. Oh, can you put your cat in the closet?
I don't know if you guys remember this book called Flowers in the Attic, but
Yes.
put that cat in the attic.
I'm surprised that Flowers in the Attic. That was such a big lifetime moment when they made that into a movie finally, because my mom had us read all the books. It was a trilogy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now I'm gonna have to go watch it because that was good.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a great storyline. Great storyline. So Hazel's moving to England. She wants her and Matthew to get their own place so that she can reunite with Hazel. And it's moving day. and she's going to the airport. She's having a conversation with her driver, and we find out there's no date set for the wedding yet because they've never lived together. It's only been back and forth visiting, and she wants to see what living with him looks like. And I think that's a great idea. However, it's not going to be realistic because you're living with his family. And same question I have with Luke. What has Matthew been doing for the last year? Like, it's clear to me that you took time to plan and get a ring and propose and have that moment. So now the next step is you are a finance bro. So clearly you know about budgeting and times and all of that. What have you been doing for the last year? Because you're giving me vibes like you actually don't want to move out of your parents' house. And if that's the case, that's okay, right? Multi-generational households, that's okay. But let your fiance know that this is what it's going to be, so her expectations are not set to a different standard than what she's coming into.
Exactly. Don't just rope her along like Sumit and Jenny until you can finally find a way to just stay in your parents' home.
Exactly, because that's what we're not about to do. We're not doing 7 years of you saying you're doing something and you're not actually doing it, and then all of a sudden you just circle back to your parents' place, because that's just ridiculous. Say what you want, say what you need, and that's the end of it.
Right.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's all, you guys. We have, I know today is not our usual day, but Abby and I are both traveling. So if our shows are a little like, get in where you fit in, then that's how they're going to be for a little bit, at least towards the end of the month. And then we'll be back on schedule. Don't forget to like and subscribe, you guys, and let us know your thoughts on this episode. Abby, you want to say anything?
That's it. Also, make sure you find TMW on Instagram. Follow for all the latest news, and you can follow me at Abby Winters 80 for just fun.
There you go, you guys. And speaking of just, yesterday, let's just all say a little prayer for D'Angelo and Angie Stone's son. He's gone through a lot this year, losing both of his parents. And, they are both legends in their own fields, both in music, but, one's neo soul, one's R&B. And it's sad. It's so sad.
Very sad for that young man. Yeah, so send love wherever you can. Give love, guys. It's good to love.
It's good to love. And you guys, look, my heart is getting way better. See that? See that? It's like a heart.
My thing did it. Did you see it?
I saw that. Yours did a little.
It did it again. I don't know how I'm doing it.
I love it.
Because it doesn't do it all the time.
Oh, you hit the spot. You hit the L spot.
Something magic is happening this time.
Magic.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us again. See you next time.
Bye, guys. Have a great week.